Hello and welcome. This is Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Compliments of the season to you. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. President Muhammadu Buhari has hailed Republic of Niger Republic for the conduct of the December 27 presidential election and parliamentary elections in the country. The president also appreciated outgoing President Mahamadou Issoufou as well as citizens of the country. In an audience with former Nigerian Vice President and leader of the ECOWAS Electoral Observation Mission, Architect Namadi Sambo, President Buhari said President Issoufou deserves to be congratulated on how he organized and conducted the elections. President Buhari also praised the work of the ECOWAS mission to Niger Republic, describing it as very impressive. He, however, expressed regrets over reported incidents of violence in some other countries in the sub-region. In his remarks, the former vice president described the elections as successful, free and fair, and expressed hope that this peaceful conduct will continue within the sub-region. He also conveyed to President Buhari the gratitude of members of the mission for the support given by Nigeria and the deep appreciation of the government and people of Niger Republic for Nigeria's continuous cooperation, support, and encouragement. The 2021 Appropriations Bill of 13.58 trillion naira has been signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. The president also assented to the 2020 Finance Bill, critical to the implementation of the budget's economic recovery and resilience. Performing the ceremony, predicted Buhari reassured Nigerians that their hope and confidence of a greater future shall not be in vain. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the reports.
Flanked by Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo and presiding officers of the National Assembly, amongst others, President Muhammadu Buhari signs the two critical money bills into law to enable the implementation of the 13.58 trillion naira 2021 budget beginning January the 1st. This is the second consecutive year since the return to democracy in 1999. The nation's federal budget will be passed and assented to before the commencement of the new fiscal year, a further confirmation of the administration's resolve to maintain a predictable January to December budget cycle.
As you are all aware, our economy recently lapsed into its second recession in 4 years. We intend to use the budget to accelerate our economic recovery process, promote social inclusion, and strengthen the resilience of the economy. Ministries, departments, and agencies are hereby directed to redouble efforts towards implementation of their programs and projects in ways that promote the greater public good.
The president appreciated what he called sustained mutual understanding, collaboration, and high-level constructive engagement between the executive and the legislature, which made the accelerated enactment of the important money bills possible. This partnership, he said, must be sustained regardless of any differences in the greater interests of Nigerians. He, however, said changes made to the executive proposal will be examined and, where necessary, requests for amendment, variant, or appropriate adjustments will be forwarded to the National Assembly for consideration so that the core objectives of the budget are accomplished.
The 2021 budget is very critical to the delivery of the legacy projects of our administration. I also expect that the 2021 budget will stimulate domestic economic activities and create employment opportunities, especially for the youth. Relevant agencies are to ensure the realization of our crude oil production and export targets. Heads of defaulting agencies are hereby warned that they will be severely sanctioned.
And in view of the recent spike in coronavirus cases nationwide, the president promised to ensure timely implementation of the health and emergency measures in the 2021 budget towards controlling and containing the global pandemic, as well as protecting the lives and livelihoods of Nigerians.
As a nation, we are currently confronted with diverse challenges at this time. I commend the understanding, sacrifice, resilience of our people, both young and old. I assure everyone that our hope and confidence of a greater future shall not be in vain.
One important revelation at the budget signing ceremony was the disclosure by Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed that the 2020 budget was implemented a record 97.7%.
And this is to show what can be achieved when the legislature and the executive arms of government work together in harmony for the benefit of the people of Nigeria. So long as it is a national interest, we will give Mr. President the kind of support that he requires to make Nigeria a better place, to make Nigeria a safer place, to make the economy of Nigeria work for every Nigerian.
It's all about us. Government is all about everybody. It's not about the legislature, it's not about the executive. The president said it clearly. He said we also need the cooperation of the civil societies. He asked the agencies and the ministries to also cooperate, because that's another arm of government. That's another check and balance to government. And so we're calling on them, we're calling on the people out there to continue to show support.
The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, is expected to provide further details on the 2021 budget in the coming days. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Despite the turbulence occasioned by COVID-19, Nigeria's economy in 2020 has been described as one that performed above expectation. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria, while reviewing the year, noted the need to recognize externally induced factors that impede optimal performance of the economy. Daniel Aderiye tells us more.
Economic experts on the program are emphatic on consolidating the successes recorded in 2020 despite being a challenging one. They are unanimous in border relations as well as cargo transport getting adequate attention, which they believe will help deal with inflation rates.
In the new dispensation heading into AFCTA, are we still going to, have we got a robust arrangement about the movement of trade across the border? Nigeria is building an infrastructure for a maritime hub. And that becomes significant because it's no longer two challenges. How do you evacuate from these hubs into the country? That means rail has to come in. You've got to use rail to move them. Inland container depot to move, not by people driving into Lagos.
The guests further added that with the slow but sure climb of the nation's economy out of recession, all hands must be on deck to deal effectively with COVID-19 and avoid another lockdown that will invariably be a clog in the wheel of progress on economic recovery.
Having a good handle on COVID-19 so that there will be no second round economic lockdown, because if there is a second lockdown, that one will disrupt whatever gains that have been made so far in the area of economic recovery.
Despite the fact that 4 land borders are open, but there are certain exemptions, and that exemption is to protect local industries that are producing so as to continue to produce.
They noted that a synergized collaboration between public and private economic policymakers is key to an accelerated economic recovery. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
The coronavirus pandemic has been described by experts as an unprecedented tsunami in the world oil market. The The pandemic, which came initially as a wave, put the whole world in shock, with concerted efforts by major industry players tailored at stabilizing this all-important sector. Over now to Lydia Sampson for a look at major interventions in 2020.
The future of the global oil and gas industry has been a subject of great debate for decades. Since COVID-19 surfaced, there's been even more conjecture on the issue, in particular, the most likely timing for peak oil, when crude production reaches its maximum rate before going into permanent decline. Nigeria's gas industry is on the verge of real transformation. Some of the FIDs that were close to finalization were postponed globally. However, Nigeria stood tall as the final investment for Twin 7 LNG was signed.
We are crossing what we call the Ndoni-Abo River crossing in River State that will deliver gas from the eastern part of the country into the western corridor. That means expanding gas supply into the Elf line, also making gas ready, and the AKK, it will be waiting for AKK to come up.
Government declared the year 2020 as the year of gas, and huge investment to increase Nigeria's value realization from her huge gas endowments from the Kaduna Kano gas pipeline.
When completed, the Kaduna Kano gas pipeline project will provide gas for generation of power and for gas-based industries, which would facilitate the development of new industries and also the revival of urban industries.
Autogas and the inauguration of the Oredo Integrated Gas Handling Facility and LPG processing and dispensing plants, key players say, highlights President Muhammadu Buhari's genuine determination to deliver on his promises even in the face of daunting challenges, particularly those posed by the coronavirus pandemic.
The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has made unprecedented strides in the area of gas infrastructure development that will facilitate exploitation and monetization of Nigeria's massive gas resources.
The global oil market through OPEC was instrumental in helping counter the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and in stabilizing the oil market through successful implementation of the Declaration of Cooperation Objectives and an unprecedented production cut.
As we look to navigate the future energy transition, it is our deeply held conviction that we need to work together step by step and challenge the misconception that the oil and gas industries are not part of our energy future.
The chain reaction of events due to COVID-19 and the drastic measures taken worldwide to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 led to an unprecedented drop in the demand for oil and a corresponding catastrophic collapse in prices. OPEC's latest world oil outlook, for example, forecasts increasing oil demand for 2 more decades. The good news is the federal government is resolved to deepen local content, transparency and accountability so that Nigerians can have maximum import from the oil and gas sector going forward. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Now, developed and emerging economies in 2020 had the most difficult financial periods due to lockdown of economic activities caused by COVID-19. While most countries resort to external borrowing to cushion the impact and others struggled to weather the storm, Nigeria's economy, although not immune to the virus and its economic challenges, was able to drive growth through key non-oil sectors. Abolade Salami reports.
Nigeria's economy was returning to its growth trajectory on the workable policies of the government and the involvement of private sector economic growth initiative. The country's GDP figures as released by the National Bureau of Statistics in first quarter of 2020 grew by 1.87% in real terms as against the 2.10% recorded in first quarter of 2019. While most economies contracted and global oil price plunged due to the impact of the global health crisis that slowed down economic activities, thereby resulting in recession, some key sectors helped to revive the economy.
A total of 18 sectors recorded positive growth in the third quarter relative to 13 sectors during the second quarter of 2020, which reflects significant improvement in economic activity.
As a government that had authorized diversification from a mono economy. The proactive steps yielded the needed support as the non-oil sector grew by 2.06% in first quarter of 2020, with the fiscal and monetary policy initiative to drive both domestic and foreign investments. The country's foreign investment outflow in second quarter of 2020 was punctured by the global pandemic, while local investors took advantage of the ease of doing business initiative to grow their business.
The PMI, the manufacturing PMI, some key constituent of it like production level is still on the right path. It's still on the growth path. The production level, the new order level, and the supply delivery time, everything went above 50%.
As the engine room for most economies, the macro, small and medium enterprises received the support of the government through its survival fund of 60 billion naira and a guaranteed offtake scheme of 15 billion naira to help resuscitate business and promote an all-inclusive economic growth.
So far, 149.2 billion out of the 150 has been disbursed to 316,869 beneficiaries. Some small businesses got as little as 2.5 million naira for them to recover their business back again.
The determination of the government to ensure a sustainable economic growth, stakeholders say, will aid a better financial outlook for the year 2021. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And reports just reaching us, we can confirm to you that President Muhammadu Buhari will make a New Year broadcast to the nation on Friday, January 1st, 2021 at 7 a.m. According to a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, television, radio and other electronic media outlets are enjoined to join the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, respectively, for the broadcast. You're watching Nationwide on NTA. Adiola in our Lagos studio has the next set of reports.
Hello, Ayo. Lagos without its gridlocks is certainly a tale of the miraculous. Most people in the state have come to accept this perennial trend as one of the key features of the fast-paced city. And in recent times, the traffic situation seems to have worsened, but for needed and inevitable reasons. Lynn Lenaka went round town to feel the pulse of Lagosians on this.
Lagos, a metropolitan city with beautiful road architecture, has remained a sight to behold. The state has connecting roads that run in crisscross pattern, linking different parts of the city. Most times, particularly at rush hours, however, these roads are often choked with vehicles causing gridlock. Festive periods like the Yuletide, when many travel out of Lagos for holidays, is usually a period of respite for Lagosians. A drive through some parts of the metropolis shows that a trip that would ordinarily take hours due to gridlock is now less than that. In some areas like Ikorodu, Ketu, Ikeja and Costain, the situation is different and direct opposite, as motorists who ply these routes in less than 1 hour 30 minutes now do so in several hours, as traffic jams in these locations linger endlessly.
From Ikeja, and the traffic is very bad. I don't really know what is happening here in Lagos. At least we've passed the Christmas and the New Year is approaching, and getting to where you are going, you'll be tired, or you are going to work, you face a lot of traffic.
And the most important thing is that people should look into their vehicles before putting it on the road, because many vehicles will, the gospel on the way, and before they come and pick them off the road, it has caused a lot of traffic.
Commuters who lament the hardship experienced on the road attribute it to construction works and rehabilitation of road ongoing in that axis.
Before,
it was like 1 hour plus. But now, since they started constructing my 12 roads, it took us like 4 hours. We'll be stressed, we'll be tired in the traffic. You don't know what to do again. In fact, it's terrible.
When you are coming from Ikodu also to my 12, it's always heavy. But during the, let's say, midday period, the traffic is light. But as soon as the market people are back on the road, that's these my 12 marketers and so on. So the traffic is good.
Business activities on the outer marina is still at its peak as petty traders are cashing on the traffic situation to sell their wares. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Shop owners and furniture makers at the Ketu Plank Market on Demorin Street are counting their losses as a result of fire that engulfed and destroyed their wares. The DG Lasema Olufemi Okeosoitolu visited the market to assess the level of damage. This is what is left of the market that used to serve the needs of residents of this area. Machines, generators and tools used for sewing, cutting and fabrication of wooden furniture were destroyed in the fire. This is the third time in the space of 10 years that the market is experiencing such unfortunate incidents. Only on Saturday, December 26, shops opened for business before the incident on Sunday morning.
It happens within almost in the morning around 8 o'clock. So it's unfortunate anyway, very unfortunate. You could see that this is our livelihood. We don't have any damage again. We'll be very glad if, any sort of outside help.
Lawal Saka, a family man with children, depends on his wood business for survival.
So at least we calculate, I just build a show that sells up to 50, something like that. I'm using planing machine and circular and generator. So my own machine that I'm using, at least the planing, if I want to buy the new one now, at least 400,000 for the planing.
Some of the traders have, however, started erecting makeshift shops in the face of their predicament.
Here is my stand now with my machine, with my doors, chairs, everything don't finish. It is very, very, very sad, very, very sad to be sincere with God Almighty. Even I don't know what to do. I wept on that very Sunday.
I don't even know how to start. I don't know where to start from. Because I just bought some market that I will sell in the new year to start up new year. So everything has got burnt.
DG Lasema Olufemi Okeosoitolu, who visited the scene, warned on the need for increased safety and consciousness, adding that government will speed up work on the new complex to relocate victims.
We are going to ensure that safety facilities is being put in here, fire hydrants is being put in here. The people here are really engaged, moving them to the new complex. And you can see that despite the sensitization and advocacy, our people are not keeping to the rules. So we will look into working with them how we are going to put in enforcement.
Although the cause of the fire is unknown, the DG has warned traders to desist from storing highly flammable products. There will be more reports after this first break, to stay with us.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Logo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
All
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
As the countdown to the new year begins, we here at NTA cannot help but look back on a challenging year that has been filled with many lessons. The most important of all being a renewed gratitude for the continuous support of our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, businesses and manufacturers, and you, the viewers. As we cross the finish line together, this celebration of new beginnings would simply be incomplete without you there, and we look forward to sharing the coming year with you. Here's to an excellent year ahead.
Hotspur ended 2020 in a slump, but will their fortunes change when they take on Leeds United in their first game of 2021 on Saturday? It's Tottenham versus Leeds United on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up in association with Goal.com.
Glad you're still with us. The Niger Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 1,016 new cases of COVID-19, increasing the number of confirmed cases to 86,576 in the country. Of the 1,016 new infections recorded in 20 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos has 434, the FCT has 155, Plateau 94, Kaduna and Rivers have 56 new cases each, Oyo 30, Nasarawa 27, Zamfara 25, Abia 22, Enugu and Kano have 18 each, Bayelsa 15, Edo 14, Ogun 11, Borno and Ebonyi 10 each, Jigawa 7, Anambra 4, while Delta, Niger and Osun states confirmed 3 new cases each. Total number of recorded cases per state also increased nationwide, and Lagos now has 26,618 cases. Next is the Federal Capital Territory with 11,588 cases, followed by Kaduna with 5,127 cases and Plateau with 4,849. Total confirmed cases, some 11,976 cases are active active now across the country, while 73,322 patients have been discharged after recovery, with 1,278 deaths, unfortunately. The Cross River State government is appealing to the federal government and the NCDC for support to get its public health COVID-19 response back on track in view of the second wave of infections across the country. Paul Abel reports that the plea is coming on the heels of the devastating impact of the looting and destruction of critical health facilities being used in the fight against COVID-19 during the NSAS protests.
The negative impact of the NSAS protest is visible at the major COVID-19 testing center at the Infectious Disease Hospital and the 120-bed isolation center at Diabo in Calabar.
Following the NSAS protests in Cross River State, the public health response and COVID-19 response has basically been brought to a halt in our state.
At the moment, the testing center at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital and that of Abuja, with just 14 rooms for isolation, is in operation, and this, the government says, is grossly inadequate for the state. It is against this background that the state is soliciting assistance to reactivate its testing and isolation centers, as well as aid in its tasks to enhance risk communication to ensure people do the right thing.
We need the public health COVID-19 response to be back on track so we can test more persons, we can know those who are affected, we can do proper case management for them, we need to improve on the risk communication and several other pillars that are in the incident action plan for Cross River State.
Having counseled internationally acclaimed Africa's biggest street party, the Carnival Calabar, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, the state government is of the view that moving forward, funding and expenditure should be decentralized to reach target audiences. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
And still on COVID-19 related stories, the Ondo State Interministerial Task Force on COVID-19 has insisted that all crossover services in the state must end by 10 p.m. Thursday night. The chairman of the committee, Professor Adeshegun Fatusi, gave the directive at an interactive meeting with religious leaders in Ondo State. Doris Olumoko has details.
The interactive meeting generated different arguments as to whether or not the crossover vigil will hold in Ondo State. While the Interministerial Task Force on COVID-19 posited that its decision was to stem the tide of coronavirus pandemic in the state, the religious leaders argued that churches have been preaching and educating their members on preventive measures against the pandemic, emphasizing that the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) is law-abiding and cannot go against directives of the government.
You want people to cross into 2021 successfully, or cross to everyone by getting infected with COVID-19. There's a curfew in the land from 10 to 4 p.m. and therefore everyone should respect the curfew. Do you church? Do you mosque? Do you bar? Do you market? Do you government offices? My singular counsel, deep thinking, is that this year, let the crossover service be held. Let us educate our people the way they should behave and be observed.
Other members of the association appealed to government to allow crossover services hold between 10 p.m. and 12:15 a.m., noting that praises, worship, and prayers cannot be overemphasized in the fight against COVID-19 in the state and Nigeria at large. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
Maiduguri is next on Nationwide, and Abubakar will be giving us the latest from that center.
Very well, Ayodeji. It's always nice to see you. Now, Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has visited the National Identity Management Commission in Maiduguri to assess the conduct of the NIN enrollment exercise. Mohammed Goni completes the story.
Since the directives issued by the Nigerian authority for citizens to register their SIM card using their national identity number, residents have been trooping to the NIMC office along Damaturu Road as early as 5 o'clock in the morning to queue up. Governor Babagana Umar considered the process as not only tedious and cumbersome, but also compromises security. Hence the visit to the office, where he had a brief meeting with the official in charge in the state. Professor Babagana Umar urged citizens who converge on the NIMC office to remain calm, as the state government will make a case for extension of deadline to enable them to obtain their NIN.
Minister Honorable Ali Fatami na kira shi, insha Allah ya amsa, za su yi mana bayani, muna fata za su ji kukanmu, za su kara lokacin nan.
He equally assured that the NIN registration process will be decentralized to allow citizens obtain their national identity number at ward level. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Over 100 displaced households in Maiduguri have benefited from food and non-food items distribution by professional women engineers. Wife of Borno State Governor Engineer Habiba Babagana Umar Zulum flagged off the distribution exercise to IDPs from 6 displaced local government areas. Yagum Subukar has more details.
Flagging off the distribution exercise, wife of Borno State Governor Engineer Habiba Babagana Umar Zulum assured to assist vulnerable households and urged them to sustain prayers for peace.
Seeing my fellow women here very happy, collecting their small gift, that also makes me happier. I was thinking it's just a small gathering, but to my surprise, it's a big one.
Chairperson Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, Borno State Chapter, Engineer Korisha Tima said, over 1,600 households have been registered across the 6 local governments to benefit from the association's corporate social responsibility.
If an association like this, all women can do such a thing, then I also plead with a lot of our Borno indigenes that a little will go a long way.
This is part of those even the Nigerian Society of Engineers is carrying out within the state.
The beneficiaries of the program, while thanking the women engineers and wife of the governor for the gesture, assured to use the items for the purpose intended and appealed for sustenance of such support to them. Items distributed include blankets, sanitary towels, detergents and rice, as well as condiments, among others. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
And those are the latest stories for now from Maiduguri. Time to return to Ayodeji in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Ayodeji.
Thanks, Abubakar. Now let's talk some security matters. The Armed Forces of Nigeria has between the 18th March and 30th December 2020 neutralized 2,403 criminal elements across the country. This is in addition to scores of other terrorists and armed bandits killed by airstrikes during the period. Coordinator Defense Media Operations Major General John Enenche disclosed this at an end-of-the-year media briefing in Abuja. Francis From reports.
Within the periods under review, troops engaged in series of land, maritime and air operations involving kinetic and non-kinetic approach. The coordinator of Defense Media Operations says these operations resulted in the rescue of 864 kidnapped victims and a recovery of 9,684,797 liters of stolen automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel.
33,516,000 of DPP, among others. And then, yes, it is good to point out here that 1,910 criminals were arrested. Majority of them under investigation, and at the end of the investigations, some appropriate judicial processes have commenced, and others
will commence on completion of investigation, of which we always fully.
General Enenche attributed the successes recorded to the commitment and determination of the gallant troops.
We will continue to sustain the offensive and will not relent until peace is restored to every troubled zone in Nigeria.
The military high command commended Nigerians for their support and solicited further cooperation in providing credible information that will facilitate proactive engagements in the coming year. In Abuja, Francis from NTA News.
Security operatives have recorded another success in the fight against banditry and other crimes along the Abuja-Kaduna highway. Haruna Muhammad reports that 9 suspected cattle rustlers were neutralized by the operatives along the road.
Kaduna-Abuja highway was for some time a nightmare for motorists on account of high rates of kidnapping, banditry and cattle rustling along the road. Security operatives have made frantic efforts to bring the situation under control. The recent breakthrough was an encounter between security operatives, some bandits and cattle rustlers.
Our eyes are not off the road and other strategic locations, meaning that security agencies are not only on the road, they are also carrying out vigorous and aggressive fighting patrols to hide out where the bandits are located.
The Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai congratulated the troops on the successful operations, urging them to sustain the offensive against criminals. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
The Judicial Panel of Inquiry on Alleged Police Brutality sitting in Port Harcourt has struck out cases lacking content for jurisdiction, while investigations is continuing in cases where witnesses tendered strong evidence. Ijoma Ugweke has details of the 20th day of the Judicial Panel sitting in Port Harcourt.
20th day sitting of Judicial Panel of Inquiry has series of adjourned cases because witnesses were absent. Chairman of the panel, Justice Chukwunenye Uriri, who frowned at the recent developments, struck out some of the cases for lack of content, while 5 cases were adjourned to 4th and 7th of January 2021.
Let's look at them again.
That's all right.
We'll look at them again. We'll take a short adjournment. He has already made an opinion known to the public.
Yes.
Let us also look at it once more.
Thank you very much.
So we can come to a reasoned decision.
The petitioner Michael Akubo is seeking justice for the alleged murder of his brother, caused time by operatives of Nigeria Police. He is also demanding the release of his brother's corpse at UPTH since October 2017.
That day I saw my brother, that first day I came to that station and saw my brother where they tied him, the hand back and the leg like this. He told me, Che, I should help him, that the torture here is too much, that he's dying.
The case of 58-year-old Festus Osiago, who was allegedly brutalized by the disbanded SAS, and Obonna Ifediora, who petitioned the panel for unlawful detention, violation of human rights, and brutality, were adjourned to 8th January for cross-examination of witnesses and further hearing. In Port Harcourt, Ijomo Gweke, NTA News.
Let's link up with Chineye in Enugu for stories from the east of the Niger.
Thanks, Ayodeji. Welcome to Enugu. To survive post-crude oil era and mitigate adverse effects of COVID-19 on the nation's economy, states in Nigeria should consider adopting the Eastern Nigeria Economic Reconstruction Plan of 1954 to 1964, which accelerated the development of the then region, making it the fastest growing economy in the world, according to the World Bank Commission study by Harvard University in 1964. This was the submission of the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, during a summit in the state to discuss issues that will better the lives of people of the Southeast and Nigeria. Jude Abugu reports.
With firm belief that Nigeria has all it takes to weather the storms of post-crude oil era and post-COVID-19 economic woes, The minister assured that although the fall in demand of Nigeria's crude oil is coming at a time COVID-19 has plunged the economy of most countries into recession, the nation can still participate fully in next industrial revolution, which will be based on science, technology, innovation, creativity, and enterprise.
We are now experiencing the fourth industrial revolution. The first, second, and third took place at a time that we do not fully participate. There is no reason why we cannot fully participate in the fourth industrial revolution.
To create such environment where innovation, technology, and creativity thrives, the minister noted needs the right leadership similar to that of Nigeria's foremost political leaders who were able to take their regions to enviable heights with limited resources from palm oil, cocoa, limestone, and coal. The minister also emphasized the imperative of bringing into politics men and women who are accessible, dynamic, reliable, visionary, and knowledgeable to work for the common good of all Nigerians, devoid of selfish and sectional interest. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
2 inmates of the Correctional Service Enugu Custodial Center have regained their freedom. Comfort Ayim, who witnessed the jail delivery, also reports that the cases reviewed from compiled lists by the center were mostly those of capital offenses.
A court sitting in a prison yard, court proceedings duly observed, relevant bodies on hand. The Chief Judge, Enugu State High Court, says in Nigeria, Office of the Attorney General decides on bringing the inmates to trial for a possible liberation in an effort to decongest the custodial center.
Correctional centers nationwide are overflowing with inmates, and this is an endemic challenge that has been confronting the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria.
About 31 juvenile cases were earlier presented before the court, she added. The Correctional Service came up with a compiled list of about 12 inmates whose cases were not yet in court. Out of the 12, 2 were granted bail, 1 discharged outrightly after reviewing their cases.
It is inappropriate, it is unlawful, and then to take necessary steps to ensure that those children are removed from incarceration, from the custodial sentence.
As far as I'm concerned, and from what I could see in that case, some of those cases claimed to be juveniles presented an age that does not, indicate that, and the CJ may have, based on that, to take our decisions.
Established in 1915, the then Nigerian Prison Service Enugu, now Nigerian Correctional Custodial Center, is said to be one of the largest in Southeast. In Enugu, Comfort Ayim, NTA News.
And that is it from Enugu. Nationwide continues with Ayodeji in Abuja after this commercial break. Do stay.
As the countdown to the new year begins, we here at NTA cannot help but look back on a challenging year that has been filled with many lessons. The most important of all being a renewed gratitude for the continued support of our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, businesses and manufacturers, and you, the viewers. As we cross the finish line together, the celebration of new beginnings would simply be incomplete without you there, and we look forward to sharing the coming year with you. Here's to an excellent year ahead.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
Say them they rape about 35% of them girl pikin, and even them women safe. Some of them they even die in the process. Emotional trauma uncle, it they make some of them be like say they no dey this one again, they don't go, but they still they live like ghosts. Some of them shame don't kuku make them go kill themselves. It no good oh. This no be our culture. It no fit be the African way. Why we can't allow this kind of thing join body with us so they loud well. If you know they fear law wey man put, you know they fear Baba God there. You self, you where they cover mouth so you see mini wana they happen. You know why here when the Oyibo talk say problem where they bring come out, they solve and sharply. Remember, person wey feel rape, if it's a key person oh, if it be you, if it be your pikin, if it be person them where you love well. So make we learn they carry women then like diamond where we be. No grief for rape oh.
Hotspur ended 2020 in a slump, but will their fortunes change when they take on Leeds United in their first game of 2021 on Saturday? It's Tottenham versus Leeds United on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Baba Ijebu, Lipton, and Close Up in association with Goal.com.
You're welcome back. The Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, has enjoined Nigerians to drive safely and adhere to travel protocols that promote COVID-19 prevention. In a statement signed by the Corps Public Education Officer, Assistant Corps Marshal Bisi Kazim, the Corps Marshal felicitates with Nigerians on the occasion of a new year and appeals for sustained consciousness by people to overcome challenges ahead. The Corps Marshal particularly enjoins members of the public not to violate the guidelines put in place by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, stressing the need for people to regularly wash their hands with soap, wear face masks, and observe social distancing. These, he says, remains the best preventive measures against the infectious disease threatening the world. The Corps Marshal, the statement reviews, is pleased with the conduct of drivers during Christmas celebration and says there is need to sustain such good habits to avoid high rates of road traffic crashes. An advocacy group on curbing cybercrime in Nigeria is engaging university undergraduates in the campaign to stem the excesses and negative use of the social media and other vices associated with the use of the internet. The group, known as Face of Nigerian Universities, kicked off a contest in Abuja, which is to produce a winner to champion the campaign nationwide. Momso Damien Datti captured the sights and sounds.
The Nigerian youth, right now, the only means of survival which they think of is just to get rich quick at all costs. And because of that, they engage in these social vices such as cybercrime, rituals, kidnapping, human trafficking, prostitution, and so more of that. And this act basically is not helping the reputation of this country. And on a long run, on a lifetime long run, it's not helping they themselves. The message that Fono is trying to preach and pass Nigerians across to the world, to Nigeria in general, is to let them know that there are other means of survival. Like as a youth, if you have the ability to believe in yourself, have a purpose. Yes, it's not going to be easy. That's why they call it dreams. Doing the right thing, praying, committing, being consistent in that thing, there is no way you will not succeed. There are better ways of making it.
Almost every young person wants to just make it, whether by hook or by crook, without considering whether there will be a repercussion or not. So we are here to preach against get rich quick. You just need to follow the right source. That is what we believe in. And with this platform, we believe we can touch lives.
As Nigerian youths, if we have to go far in life in terms of our career, profession and the rest, we have to take our education more seriously.
Keep their body sacred, because their body is actually their pride. You don't need to do anything that will destroy you.
The face of Nigerian universities should be a face of academic excellence. Should be a face that looks steadfastly towards the future of Nigeria, to what Nigeria as a country should be. Should be a face that inspires courage in all Nigerian students, that inspires Nigerian students to be confident and put their best feat of competence forward on the global fleet.
Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
Now let's talk sports, where Kene Ima Agbodike will be giving us a review of that sector in the year 2020.
The dreaded COVID-19 pandemic no doubt disrupted global sporting calendar in 2020 to such an extent that sporting activities were completely or partially absent in most sporting nations of the world, including Nigeria. Major scheduled competitions were cancelled, and the few that were held featured no fans or spectators amid strict adherence to COVID-19 safety protocols. However, in the face of the challenge, some notable achievements were recorded in the sector in Nigeria and by Nigerians within and outside the nation. Recall that in August, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development released the 2020 Draft National Sports Industry Policy to the general public for review and necessary input. The process, which is ongoing, will eventually culminate in the presentation of the policy for approval by the Federal Executive Council. In November, 8 basketballers of Nigerian heritage met the NBA draft peak, surpassing the 5 in 2017. Two of them, Isaac Okoro and Onyeka Okongo, were drafted in the first round, while Precious Achungwa, Zeke Naji, Udoka Azubike, Desmond Bain, Daniel Oturu, and Jordan Nwora were also drafted. Still on basketball, the D-Tigers ended their FIBA AfroBasket 2021 first-round qualifiers with a perfect record in Kigali, Rwanda, alongside Senegal, Tunisia, Egypt, and Cote d'Ivoire. In boxing, Anthony Joshua successfully defended his WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO titles against Bulgaria's Kubrat Pulev on December 12 in London, while Efe Ajawa overcame his American opponent Jonathan Rice in a keenly contested bout in Las Vegas in September, even as the Scorpion Ridwan Oyekola beat Argentine Lucas Montesino in Ecuador in December to clinch WBF International Super Featherweight title.
He's a good fighter. I respect him.
In mixed martial arts, Nigeria's Israel Adesanya matched his prowess with spectacular victories in 2020 to emerge International Fighter of the Year, while also winning the Charles Mask Lewis Fighter of the Year award at the 12th MMA Awards. And in football, the 2020-2021 season of the nation's top-tier domestic league went underway in December in spite of challenges, making a return on national television.
Steven, good play, and it's
Watch out for more on our 2020 sports review. In Abuja, Kenen Ima Aburike, NTA News.
And that is Nationwide on the NTA today. I'm Ayodeji Makinde, wishing you a prosperous 2021 ahead.